Yes, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Top 4 podcast, VARguably the best football podcast in the world. Boys, it's August. I had to just double check then what month it was, but we are in early August, which means the transfer window is fully up and going. And it's been quite an exciting transfer window, but it's definitely picked up a little bit in the last 24 hours, really. Two massive transfers not gone through. Last week we talked about Varane and White. That went through soon after we'd done the podcast. So now, wait, has Varane gone through yet? Varane's definitely gone through 100%.
It's pretty much in the same stage.
Basically, but... right. So don't clip that up and embarrass me on TikTok.
Done.
And then today we're looking at two which really aren't anywhere near as being close, but would be arguably much bigger. And the first one we're going to look at is the man, Sir Harry Kane, the Tottenham legend and saviour. It didn't turn up to training. Huge.
Never a good time.
Skiving he is.
He's forcing it as much as he can. Let's be fair. He's made it very clear that he doesn't want to be there anymore. They just need to fucking let him go. But they've been saying they're going to punish him for not turning up to training.
I think they have to, though. They have to punish him. They can't just lay down and let him do what he wants. But at the same time, apparently Kane had a gentleman's agreement with Daniel Levy since last season, saying that he was going to leave this summer, regardless of the season they had. So obviously, it seems like he's throwing his toys out the pram now that Levy's not following up or actively trying to get him a move away. But at the same time, if you're Harry Kane, I think you want to avoid upsetting the fans as much as possible. Like, still try and get a move away and still try and get out. But you don't want to go against the fans that's been backing him for years and years. Because obviously he's a homegrown talent for Spurs, and he came through the academy and he's become one of the top strikers in the world. I just think ending it badly or sourly like that, especially against the fans, could turn really bad for him, I think.
I don't think the fans too much on his case. Most Spurs fans I speak to, it's not many. I know a couple of people, but what you see online as well, they're saying it's about time that he goes. So I mean, they think he's done enough, and I don't know whether that just shows their mentality about the club, but they love him. They're just like, we should let him go now. It's our fault, but we haven't sort of guided it to success. Also, partly Kane's as well. I think part of this comes down to he signed a 6-year deal, didn't he? 6-year deal. Stupid. And the club must be laughing when they got him down to that. I know he is Mr. Spurs and everything, but that's what you find a lot now with these big contracts. It's like gold cages for these players. They can't get out. That's why you will see a lot more players just running their contracts down just because, it hurts the club, but you could just get huge wages and you get the best packet, don't you, going forward?
This is the thing, though. Like, I know I've seen what you said as well about Spurs fans knowing that it's right to leave now, but I think if it's not close, or certainly at the moment it's only rumours, right? Or probably confirmed rumours that City put a bid in for him, but it's nowhere near being done. So I think as a Spurs fan, you'd want your top man to still be committed to the club. Even while he's even if he's looking for a move away, you still want him to be committed to the club, train, because if he stays another season and he literally throws every game, just doesn't bother, then I think that's going to turn Spurs fans like really sour. What do you think, James? You're a Spurs fan, right?
Well, don't you think that I agree with Pash. I was going to say what he was going to say before. I think the Spurs fans are probably lucky they've had him for as long as they had. Think about how good he's been consistently, without doubt the most consistent striker in the Premier League, if not player, for the last 6 seasons. And they've been that good, but still he's been that good, and Tottenham have still, had their moments with Poch. So the worry's got to be that, like, if Kane just continues not to go, because let's be honest, he gets a fine, he can afford the fines. All that's going to do is bring his valuation down, because a club like City are going to look at it and go, well, they're not going to keep him in the reserves. There's no way that Daniel Levy's going to let him be in the reserves or drop him. So then it's like, well, let's go. You know what I mean? I feel like it's going to bring the transfer price down and force the move through. So it's a difficult one. I agree about you want to keep fans on the same side, but for me, he's a legend anyway, and for them, and the fans, I think fans accept that, like, he needs to be somewhere else.
I get what you're saying, but he signed a 6-year deal. That is a commitment to a club. Like that is like I'll be a star man. And granted, he's not winning trophies. He wants to win trophies, and you want to go somewhere to win trophies. That's fair enough. But as an employee, if you're employed by a club to do a service, if I was a Spurs fan, let's say if I were a United fan now, right? Obviously, Paul Pogba would possibly want to move away. If he started knotting up the training, bro, then the media would be all over it. They'd be, where the fuck is he? What's he doing? Why is he not turned up to training? But again, I hate to say it, but because he's English, he's like, I just want to move away.
It's not because he's English, it's because he's white as well. Like if Sterling or someone like that did this, he'd be getting called out.
Yeah,
Harry Kane is the.
Do you know what I mean? Like there's just a little bit of bias, I think. So if you're gonna sign a 6-year contract, do your fucking job. Like even if you want to move away, if he doesn't turn to the next few training sessions, then go on.
But I just sorry to interrupt, but if you had that agreement with Daniel Levy, and he's also seen that the club has literally gone for their 10th choice fucking manager, he's in the peak of his career, and all this has gone on. He had, from what seems like, a really good relationship with Mourinho, even though everyone's hating on him. He's had a good relationship with Poch, obviously. And now he's that manager thing has got to play a massive role in this, because he obviously wanted to leave before this. And now it's just how could he's what is he, 28, 29, whatever. And it's he's going to play now for Nuno. And it's not even Daniel Levy don't even want him there. It's why will Kane stay there? You know? So I think I do get what he's saying with the whole, he should be going to training and stuff. But also he's probably thinking, he hasn't got a superstar manager. His brother is his agent, which has been talked about. What's he got to do to make this deal happen?
I don't think it's going to happen. I think it would probably go next season, unless Kane really kicks off. I don't think it's happening. City have already bid 100 mil and it got rejected. From what I read today, City kind of taking a step back now and waiting for Spurs to, reevaluate the situation.
He is worth more than that, though, isn't he? Let's be fair.
Yeah.
100%. So I understand why Spurs have declined it, and they know Man City's got money as well. Man City will spend the money. They're just trying to take the piss, I think. By good a little bit. 100 mil is a lot of money anyway, obviously for any player. But let's be fair, in today's market, that's for a Harry Kane, like I said, who's been consistent for years and years on end. If he goes into a team like Man City, he's gonna be even fucking better. You'll probably have you'll probably beat Salah's record for most goals in a season with Man City. He's been in a poor, an average Tottenham team for the last few years. I think. Yeah, he wants to move, obviously. Like I said, he's got ambition. I don't know why he wouldn't want to stay with the club when they're about to go into the lovely Europa Conference League for this season. They could be the inaugural team that win it. But it's Spurs, though, so they still managed to fuck it up somehow.
Yeah, the thing is that the price tag alone is, it's not a deal that's going to get done over. I know there was rumours about Man City making inquiry, before the Euros or whatever. And then it got shut down, saying nothing's going to happen during the Euros because obviously England was his main focus. But I mean, if that deal goes through, that's the biggest transfer in English football history, because I think the current one is Pogba, right? When we re-signed Pogba, that's the most expensive.
How much was that again?
Oh yeah,
93.
In terms of money, yeah. But I think in terms of maybe not culturally, but importance as well. In terms of the fact that you might as well just give the title to City for the next 3 seasons. And I think 3 is going a bit low. It's just massive, We don't see many big transfers between the Premier League clubs, as you did maybe 10, 15 years ago. This is up there with fucking Van Persie to Man United, almost. Except Arsenal was sort of near the title then. Tottenham are nowhere near it.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, there's a couple of reasons why, I agree with Pash. I can't see it happening, and I think this goes on nicely because I think a certain man by Jack Grealish might ruin his chances of also going to Man City as well. Because I can't see him signing both. It's either going to be one or the other. It's got to be.
That looks like it could be happening even this week. Man City, they're not like United. They're ruthless. When they get the business done, they get it done fast. It'll be done within a week. It sounds like it's on the Jack Grealish. It's coming down to he's got a new contract offered there, and it's whether he's looking down now both paths. He's going City surely, unless he wants to be one of these legends that just stay at a club for a long time.
He turned up the training today though. Jack Grealish doing his job. He turned up.
What a bloke.
Set
he
an example.
wouldn't do that to the club. He wouldn't do it to his club, would he? Do you know what I mean? But like, I'm really surprised after like seeing quite a lot of this speculation, obviously about him going to Man City and how close it looks like it is in the media. Like he's actively made it known in the past, like with tweets and things like that. He's a Man United fan. It's bizarre why he'd go to like Man City. If I'm sure United have probably put interest in there.
There's loads of players that do that, isn't there? There's so many players that support one club, and then as soon as you get off the big contract,
yeah, like Sancho was a Chelsea fan apparently back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people, but yeah, I've seen that. Did you see that tweet that Jack Grealish when
there's a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, when City won the league, he was like, just before they did, he was like, "Please, United beat him. I can't see the dirty Man City win the league or whatever." And it's just like, oh, how funny how things work out, Mr. Grealish. But I mean, again, he's another player which again says like, if he goes, just give him the title. I think again, like that's another quality player which will hurt to see City get. I think.
I agree. I don't think it's as. I mean, yeah, City are favourites anyway. It's not as secure as Kane, in my opinion. Like I love Grealish. I'm just saying, like, you know, if City get either of them, I'm just like they're going to win the league. But with Kane, it's just like not even in doubt. Like the next few seasons, Grealish is obviously a great player, but I'm still like, I've seen he's only scored 15 Premier League goals in his career, and I'm like, I wouldn't even be shocked if he bags 15 next season. And I know that's a lot for a midfielder and in a City team where you don't play much, but you just can't help but think like in that City team, he could be Grealish in the. There's talks of him playing in the middle as well. It could just be great to see.
Could be great for England as well. Obviously, the World Cup coming up. I don't want to mention the national team.
I don't want to talk about. Yeah, it's like I don't want to talk about Grealish playing. It's Grealish. No, it's too soon that. But just talking about, I feel like I've talked enough about Grealish getting an England team. But it wouldn't. What I would say is I don't think it would guarantee because Foden didn't start unless you're Raheem Sterling. You ain't guaranteed to start. But we can. That's enough.
What would say, you were saying about that? Obviously, the Harry Kane more nailed on. City need a striker, don't they?
That's exactly what I was going to say. If you look at the current state of Man City, they need a striker. Aguero's gone. Jesus is like there or thereabouts. I mean, Kane would just walk in and literally fill the gap, the only gap that they've got. But I think Grealish should be added to an already saturated wing selection, which he might be, like you say, he might be playing in the middle, but. You got straight away on the left. You got Foden, who's there already, and again, he's top of his game at the moment, expected to start. You got KDB just behind. You got Sterling on the other side with Mahrez. Right. They're missing that out and out number 9, which Kane would slot right in. So I think, even though Grealish looks like it's closer to being done, but I think they would do. They need Kane more than Grealish. I think
I was going to say I think they both end up at City. Just. Grealish should end up this summer with Kane probably next. It depends how much Grealish goes for. I'd say maybe 100 million bid this time would actually do it. I don't think it would be much more than that, but I think around 90 to 100.
That's a lot for Villa as well.
Yeah.
It's huge money. Think about the players they could bring in for next season. Like, they got a decent team. So it is like they brought in a lot of players, obviously, when they came up. Didn't work out the first season, but you saw this season, it paid off. They just like, it's all they needed was that bit of confidence as well to stay up in the first season. They come back up. Yeah. And you can't blame them. And 90 million, imagine that they could buy like a good 3-4 players for that. Really, decent players.
What I would do is I would take the 100 million. I would sell Grealish, take the 100 million, go straight to Daniel Levy and be like, so, Harry Kane, talk to me.
That's the thing. I think Villa,
like, Jesus Christ.
They've already signed like a few players this summer. And I think it was sort of said, they want them to be built around Grealish. So, for them, if they were to sell Grealish, I think they need to go and spend that on 1 or 2 players rather than get 3 and 4 because they've already got like a good squad now. Now they almost need like 1 or 2 players to get them to that next level, rather than buying squad players. But it'd be interesting. But back to that point. This is why I think Yoki, when you say you don't think they'll both happen, I think like with what Pash saying as well. I think Grealish is going to get wrapped up this week, and then. The Kane thing, I think, could be dragging out until right to the end of the window. And it's like, if he becomes available, what is City then going to do? Oh, well, we've already bought Grealish. We'll wait a season. I think they're both going to end up at City before the end of the transfer window. But I think Grealish will get done. Grealish will get done ASAP. And then I think like they're not going to like wait for Kane and then suddenly be like, well, we can't now,
the thing is, if Spurs are going to sell him, they're not going to want to sell him up right at the end, because if they get like 150 mil, they're going to want to put that back into the team. Obviously, probably not that much, knowing like the chairman, etc. But they're going to need a bit of time to find, replacements. I think the Kane's just too much work, and the contract's too big to go this summer. Fair enough if it was like a year or like 2 years left, but I think he's got 4 years left on the deal, either 4 or 3, which is just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's insane.
So much.
But if they do both go, no point watching I'm watching the Championship all season.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, you don't trust in your own team to like give him a good game, like?
No.
Grow up.
Would kill a lot of excitement. So what do you reckon? Predictions. I know we love predictions on this podcast. We'll go. You got to say either which player will go there, or if you don't think any of them will, or both. I've said mine already. I think they're both going to be there by the end of the window.
Yeah, I think Grealish this window. I was just maybe second out, because obviously they could go for Kane next window, but then Haaland's going to be available. But I think Grealish this window, Kane next window.
I personally think 72 towers, I reckon they'll both be done now by the end of the transfer window. There's so much speculation. Man City got the money. Like they've got such deep pockets. I think we're underestimating. They're like, they might even be. Are they the richest team, or is it United that's the richest team? Like, in
The richest owners.
Richest owners, yeah. Do you mean like? Obviously you've got a few up there, but yeah, to me, I think they've got some really deep pockets. Like I said, and they've been quite like, even though they bought like a lot of transfers previously, not spent like 100 mil or anything. I think Man City's like highest, is it like 60 odd mil? I think is like the highest thing ever. But they'll do that around that price and buy about 4 players at that in like one window and spend like 200 mil. So 2 players like for 200 mil, like when they've got a good squad already, I think they'll do that no problem.
I think Grealish will go, and I don't know why, but I just got a mad feeling that Kane's going to fall through and just not happen.
Can I ask you a question then? Do you think he'll win the Conference League?
Well, for his sake, I hope he does. For his own mental health, he needs to win something. I reckon Kane will end up with like PSG or something.
That'd be interesting.
And will not go to another English club.
What next summer?
Mm-hmm. I reckon something big's going to happen and it's going to fall through, but I reckon City will get Grealish.
Yeah, I reckon he'd absolutely tear up the French league. Like,
I don't think he'd go there.
Yeah, but if he did go there, he would absolutely smash it, wouldn't he?
I can't see him. I think he wants to stay in England. I think he wants the records. I think
imagine
he's leaving
bonjour every day.
He's leaving Tottenham for trophies, and like I don't think he cares about winning.
Oh no, I don't mean
French
he'll go
Cup.
to PSG anytime soon. Could be next window. Could be after when his contract ends up. But I think he'll find himself stuck at Spurs. I think for the time being, anyway. At least for the next. Yeah, at least until his contract runs up. But we'll see. I could be very wrong. I probably will be. But just adding a bit of spice.
Mate, if he goes tomorrow, I'm going to piss myself. So in the morning, like 150 mil. Fuck.
You'll be asking me where the podcast is, and I said I deleted it. Thanks for listening to VARguably, the best football podcast. Now, don't forget to follow us and like us on all social media platforms to keep up to date with the latest football news.